Welcome to Fans of the Forge, where we are recapping Season 5, Episode 14, The Lion Spear. To my right, we have Chris.
Hello.
And over there, we have Teresa.
Hello.
So, let's get started with our contestants for this episode. We have Matthew Perry.
The Matthew Perry.
The Matthew Perry. From Connecticut. Not from Friends. He probably has friends, but not from the TV show Friends. Anyway, he has 12 years of part-time experience. And then we have Aaron, who is 19 years old, who has 5 years of part-time experience. We have John, who has 7 years of part-time experience. And finally, JC, who has 2.5 years of part-time experience. So everyone's got part-time experience. No one has more than 12 years. So I picked John. Chris picked John. Teresa picked John.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron is my underdog pick. And then Teresa and Chris both had JC as their underdog.
Yes.
We did this independently. Did not watch the show together this week.
Yep.
So let's move on to round one. There is a burning barrel of mystery steel all attached to ends of rebar. And randomly, the contestants had to pick out steel to use to make their blade. So John pulls out 1095 cubes kind of stacked and welded in a little pyramid. Matt gets 5160 spring steel that's like in a fanned shape. They're kind of rectangle flaps, bars. John had some W2 discs, and Aaron had 1084 round stock. So they had to forge a hatchet, and that kind of threw everyone for a little bit of a loop. It had to be 6 to 8 inches from the butt to the blade, and then the edge had to be 4 to 6 inches. 4 to 6 inches.
Remember that.
Remember this, and I think Will was like, okay, those are the parameters. Make sure you follow them, and might come back to bite someone later. Let's see. So all contestants, they go and they clean their material first. John used the mild steel for a jacket, and he was going to use his mystery steel for the edge. So he was going to cover the mystery steel, which is kind of smart. But he used too much of the mild steel for the jacket. It was too bulky. It was too big. So he started over. And then he ended up with a super thin edge. And he had issues trying to make the eye for the handle. Matt, he would just, I guess Aaron was kind of hanging out next to him. He was yelling over to him and trying to joke around and have chit chat, but Matt couldn't hear him. So he was just like, okay, man, yeah, you got it. Like thumbs up. Okay. Just smiling and nodding to him. It was pretty funny. And, with Matt's stuff, he had his pieces forge welded together. They looked good. And then he started, I think he was on, I don't know if he was on Big Blue or he came back to his anvil. His welds started to break apart and he weren't holding up. So he cut off the worst parts and just went with that. And then we move on to Aaron, who started out looking and sounding pretty good, but he kind of had and he was measuring his blade edge, and he seemed to it looked like he knew what the parameter was. It looks like he was on point, right? He's like, oh, okay, measuring it, good. But it didn't look like it was going to fit the parameter for the blade edge.
The judges could tell right away. Like they could see, I don't think he realizes that it's a 4-inch minimum. I don't think he realizes it.
Didn't look like he was meeting it.
No.
But couldn't tell. I mean, but the guy was measuring it as he was doing it, and he had it drawn out on the floor. So I figured, well, he knew what it was, so he's got to be good. And then JC, he started forging an hour and a half into the competition. So I don't know if he spent all that time. He must have been. He had trouble breaking apart the discs at first. He was trying to use the grinder, cut the weld off. He was having trouble. Then he just took a hammer and just smacked them off. And he's like, oh, okay, that works. So I don't know how long he spent on that. And then he did spend time cleaning each piece up. So anyway, then he had trouble. His welds weren't holding. And then he started over again. And he was doing another jacket type thing. But the mild steel jacket didn't weld. So on his third try, he went and he used his W2 for the jacket with an hour left. So kind of a crazy round one. And then that brings us to judging. So Matthew Perry, his eye was a little bit off center. No big deal. Still in good shape.
Could it be any more off center?
Aaron had a heavy hatchet head, and there's a slight bow, and they measured it, and guess what? It was 3/8 of an inch in blade length.
3 inches and 1/8. 3 and 1/8 inches.
Right. Not 4. Not enough. Somehow he messed that up pretty bad. So I'm expecting him to get right out of there. But there's still John, who had a lean kind of edge, small eye, good for throwing. And then there's JC, who was warped and had a thin edge. And well, guess what? This is 3 1/4 inch in blade length. So JC got the boot.
Yeah, it was
See you later.
His was just a little too thin and warped on top of not meeting the parameters, where at least Aaron's was heavier and it was a little thicker. It could be fixed.
Yeah, it was thin. It was
there's more left there.
It was pretty thin, and he wasn't the only one who had a thin one. So, I think John had the other thin kind of blade, and I know he addressed that. And round 2, he added some welds to his.
Yeah,
to kind of beef it up.
Yeah.
So then we get to round 2 with the addition of the handle, which needed to be 12 to 15 inches long. And they only had 2 hours for this instead of the usual 3. So we go on with Matt. His method of attaching a handle was a little cringeworthy. He held it by the handle and he was hammering it down, right? Was that?
Yeah. He started off by hammering down on the head while holding the handle in place.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't do this, but I've hammered things and I've missed. And that's probably not the best way to go. And in doing this, he ended up splintering the bottom end of the handle, which he went to epoxy and tape to hold that together. Good idea. Mm-hmm. And then John immediately took that eye off and he replaced it with a piece of pipe so that he could fit it on the top of a handle. And Dave Baker lost his mind.
Yeah.
That was such a great idea. Loving it.
Well, we forgot to say that John is a pipe welder by trade.
Yes.
So
it worked out perfectly. He knew how to weld, and he took a piece of pipe, attached it right to that.
And he also did weld lines on the axe head itself to make it thicker to try to help some of that other issue that he had.
Right.
And Aaron, worked out the edge issue. He drew lots of drawings, drew it out, and he applied a pin, was the note that I have for his adding addition of a handle. He put a pin in to help it stay in place.
Yep.
And then when we go to the strength test with the railroad tie, Jay Nielsen was very excited about the railroad tie 6 times on the strength test. Matt had a minor misalignment after the test, but passed. John's also passed. The handle, his comment was that it was triangular at the bottom.
But he also said that it worked.
Yeah.
Being triangular, it actually worked.
Out, yeah.
And then Aaron, for all the attention he paid to put correct the first issue with the parameter, The handle was too long by 3/4 of an inch, and somehow Jay Nielsen got that just by feel.
Listen, right? There's some weirdness with this whole test with Nielsen.
Hold on.
First up.
Hold on.
Okay.
First of all, before you go attacking Jay Nielsen, you need to remember this guy is a professional bladesmith.
I'm not.
Who has lots of experience.
Listen, I'm not going to be talking smack about Nielsen. Okay. Let's just start off with Nielsen is giddy about this railroad tie chop. Like he's all about, like this dude is into it. It's like this railroad tie owes him money, right? That's how he's feeling about this. All right. Second, okay, when he gets to Aaron's hatchet, you know, he's feeling it out. You know, looks like he's kind of getting ready to do the test, but something's bothering him about this hatchet.
And I thought it was the pin.
Something's wrong here. It was like, well, I'm thinking, well, is the head going to fly off? Like something, what's wrong, Jay? Tell me. There's something wrong with this hatchet. We can't. And he puts it down. The handle's too long by 3/4 of a freaking inch. Are you kidding me? How are you going to know that? The dude he's just holding it and he's ready to strike. And he's like, whoa.
When it's 15 inches long, you notice the extra 3/4.
Yeah, get out of here with that. Get out of here with that, man. Jeez.
So Aaron failed to meet parameters again. And I have the quote from Will Willis. He's in the dubious position of being the only contestant to blow the parameters in both rounds.
Blow the parameters.
Really, Will Willis?
Come on.
Really?
Dude.
The kid probably feels bad enough as it is, and you're going to go shove that in his face?
Dude, he's 19 years old. Yeah, you blew the parameters. You're the only person to ever do that twice. All right. Come on, dude. Cut the kid some slack. All right.
So Aaron got cut. No more underdogs.
No.
Yeah, so that just left it down to Matthew Perry and everybody else's pick, John.
He'll be there for you.
He will for us. He's based in Connecticut.
He is based in Connecticut. So the final round, the contestants had to recreate the Maasai lion spear. It was an East African weapon that was used in the 15th century and actually has been modified throughout the years and still is used by certain tribes in Africa. It is traditionally used to hunt lions. It had to have a double-edged blade on one end and a spike on the other end. Both the flared end and the spike had to be 23 to 25 inches long each, and they both needed to have 8 to 10-inch sockets connecting them to the handle itself. And when they described all of these things, Matt looked like he was just like going to lose it. Like he was overwhelmed. Like all of this was just way too much for the guy to even think of.
Whoa.
That's Joey.
Yes. Okay.
How you doing?
Anyway, so they went back to their home forges, and as we mentioned, Matthew Perry was from Middlefield, Connecticut, so not too far of a haul from where we're located. Day one, he got his blade done on the first day, no problem. Days 2 and 3, he worked out his issues with getting his spike made and stuff, but overall, he kind of breezed through the challenge.
Yeah.
Like he never seemed to have too much of a problem here or there. Day 4, he made his handle out of ash on a lathe, and when he went to go put everything on, he said the blade was crooked, but he was able to fix it by rotating the spike either 90 or 180 degrees. I still don't remember exactly, but somehow by rotating it, it managed to line everything up nicer so it looked a little straighter. And then day 5, he went to go put the pin into the handle to help hold everything in place, and it got stuck.
To yank it out.
It got stuck. So he was like, I need to get this thing out of here now. So he's got the pliers on. He's really pulling, and he's really pulling, and he's really pulling. He goes right in the face. Boom. And he got a little bit of blood going down. It just knocked himself right in the face with those pliers. It was really... it must have hurt, and it sucks. I've hit myself with tools before. Not quite like that before, but it's a little embarrassing on TV, I suppose. But anyway, so that was Matt. John, on the other hand... he started with the spear, and it seems like he was a stay-at-home dad because he was watching his daughter.
Adorable.
the
Robotic.
cutest little baby.
Oh yeah.
Super cute. In a playpen right next to the forge in the middle of a hot summer day. So, all right, we get it. You got to watch your kid. Yeah, maybe you should have hired a babysitter for this. If it's a pretty important competition to win 10 grand. But
No
to
judgment.
each their own.
Hey man,
to
you
each
know,
their own.
I gotta
Don't know
say,
the situation.
he's got to know what he's doing. It's still danger zone, man. Baby's danger zone right there.
Yeah, it was a little close to the very hot forge that he happened to have left a blade in while he was playing with said baby daughter. And wouldn't you know it, the thing just melted. Like, he went to go pull it out, and it just like blopped on the ground, just like in a puddle of
Socket
metal.
just,
It was no good.
I was like, Sean.
So, so day 3, he finally was able to do his quench and heat treat on the blade. He got a terrible bend. He had to start over again.
That bend was horrible.
It was really wicked. It was a bad bend. It was a really bad bend. And so from there, he started again. Day 4, he broke the second blade and ended up using a TIG welder to try to fix it. And somehow managed to finish getting this whole spear put together. And it was time for judging. Matthew Perry, he had a 1075 steel for his, whereas John was a 5160 blade and a rebar spike. He had the kill test, which the triumphant return of the Doug kill test. It was him. It was Doug. He was there. The only issue I have with Doug doing the kill test is you no longer have a Doug cam shot.
Yeah, but I mean, we had some Doug cam ish when Nielsen was hitting that railroad tie.
Yeah, there was a little bit.
It wasn't great. It was them cringing at Nielsen going whole hog on this railroad tie.
Yeah, but it's never quite as good as when Doug is watching somebody take it and just shove it into that ballistics dummy or chopping into an animal. But anyway, Doug did his kill test, and Matthew Perry was up first, and Doug went to do swing. After he did a stab, he swung at it, and it broke. The blade broke right off at the handle, and it just went falling onto the floor.
I think it was the handle that actually broke.
Yeah,
it was from the end of the
steel was
socket.
fine, yeah.
Right. It just kind of splintered. So he had a catastrophic failure, and uncharacteristically for Doug, he didn't seem to talk much. He just kind of like picked it up as like, oh, it's not
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
And they said, well, John, you still have to at least beat this guy, so you have to at least go through the same test and see what happens. And wouldn't you know it, he, managed to get the swing and the stab in, and they didn't break at all. So he won. He beat the kill test, but he didn't even get the it will kill.
No.
There was no it will kill.
No. I
Like,
don't
what?
know if this blade actually would kill based on that.
How are we going to know
Right.
now? Like,
It
'Cause
hurt,
We
it
need
hurt the
Doug to
pig.
tell us, apparently.
Listen, I mean, the pig was already dead, right? But I need to know if it would have killed the pig
If it was.
alive.
I have a theory. Jay Nielsen was obviously in a mood to really do some damage to that railroad tie. Doug was just not on his game with his catchphrase. I wonder if there was some behind-the-scenes drama there, not between them specifically, but maybe just in general with the producers and maybe somebody else on the show.
Hold on. New theory, okay? During the intro, okay, when they introduced Dave Baker, he grabs at his beard on his chin. Right? Different. This is different for Dave. Normally, he just lifts up his eyeglasses and says, hey. No, he's like contemplatively, like grabbing at his beard. Very odd. Maybe Dave was cooking something up in there and just threw everything off.
What if just this motion was what threw everybody off of the whole thing? Because he's never done it before as his
Chris,
intro.
that's ridiculous.
So now none of them know how to act.
That's ridiculous.
Nobody knew how to act after he touched his beard in the intro.
No.
It's what happened.
No, there's something new going on with Dave. Like, it looked like it was trimmed a little bit different, and then he's got something. He's cooking up some. He's scheming. Dave's scheming behind the scenes. He's throwing off the whole equilibrium of the show.
Next we know there'll be a watch on the end of that chain. Instead of the
Yeah, right?
That would be outlandish. But anyway, John won. So what does that mean? We all win. We all get points. So the leaderboard, Teresa is still in the lead now with 13 points.
Yep.
I am still in second with 11 points. And Sean is still in third place with 8 points. We're all moving forward.
Yeah.
It's all climbing up there. You know, we'll have to see what happens here. Sean's on vacation next week, so I don't know how that's going to work out. I think we're probably going to record and not count the points if we have to, because we can't not include you unless you...
I won't be able to. This is terrible.
You can just
I can still do my pick, and then we can come back later and do a tally on it.
yeah, retroactive
that's fine.
tally.
We'll do a retroactive tally on those episodes. But thank you for watching. Congratulations to John for winning this one.
And Matthew Perry, if you want to meet up for some coffee at the Central Perk, just hit me up. I'm not far from you. I'll be there for you.
This show's gone off the rails, so let's call it an episode. It is late. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like our videos.
Yes.
Check us out. We have a Facebook page now, on Instagram, on Twitter. It's all happening. And
All the places.
Everywhere.
check us out.
Hit us up.
Follow us, like us, all that good stuff. If you're on the show and you're interested in being interviewed, we just completed our first interview this evening. That video, if it isn't already up, will be up shortly.
Yep.
And we are going to have some more of those coming up. So hopefully you guys like it. And thank you for watching. Good night.
See ya.
Bye.
Doug Kerm.